Oh, wow. It sounds like an episode out of real life Mzansi. What am I talking about? Netflix has a brand new local series that is all about the hustle. You can follow BK, a single mom played by Jo-Anne Reyneke, who teams up with a wannabe influencer, Pinky, played by Cindy Mahlangu. The idea is to sell fake luxury handbags online. But then there's a twist. A dangerous crime boss and the police both come knocking and things get dicey very quickly. It's a stellar cast, people like Tapelo Mokoena, Hamilton Dlamini, and even Miss Universe herself, Zosbini Tunzi. It premiered on Netflix this past Friday, the 31st of October, and it's already making the waves in the country and beyond. And I'm pleased as punch to tell you that with the studio, we've got the head writer and the creator of this series, Kudi Maradzika. A very good morning to you and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Thank you. Morning and good morning to everyone listening.
Were you just scrolling through, I don't know, Instagram one day and thought, oh yeah, here we go. There's a story sitting right there.
No, so funny stories. I actually used to be an influencer at some point in my life. I did it as a side hustle. So I have some insight into the world, but my actual profession is as a producer, writer, and I had a journalism background. So if you match those two things together, I guess what you get is an idea for behind the scenes look into a world that everyone is curious about, but we haven't actually gotten the chance to see.
And of course, this is a fictionalized account. It's not to suggest that every influencer is doing exactly this, but certainly that's a world that really is a recipe for intrigue, for things not being always what they seem, right?
Yes, completely. I think what is important with the story to realize is that there's the gloss and the grit of Joburg. I mean, we all experience it from the Sandton and the parts of town that we capture in the show, and I think that balance was very important to me to show and to highlight and to showcase.
Tell me about the illusion of the luxury lifestyle and influencing, and it all looks glossy online and on social media, but the reality is often far from that, isn't it?
Well, I can only speak to what I know and what I've experienced. And what I can say is that there's always two sides to a story, right? And I think we try and emphasize that as much as possible in the story. And to your point, we're not saying that every influencer is a bad influencer. However, we are saying that there's more to this world than just what we experience.
And certainly your drama highlights the idea that if not all that glitters is gold, there could be all sorts of unsavory elements around this world.
Correct. And I suppose it's also really balanced in the characters as well and what you see in their story, because one is a mother who's striving hard to provide for her son, and the other is an influencer who just wants a sense of validation. So in presenting that, what I'm trying to show is the balance, right? Because they're not just clear cut a mother and an influencer. They're people with emotion, with range, with depth, with you know complexity.
I mean, one of these characters has to deal, I think, with a child with special needs, for example. Explain that.
Well, I haven't seen that represented in the media, and I thought that was really important because I don't think there's awareness around that because it is actually quite expensive and difficult to cater for a child with special needs. And, as a single mother, you don't necessarily always have the resources for that. So I thought that was quite unique and
Tell us how
interesting.
you weave that into the story.
Well, it comes from BK and what she has to provide for her son. And essentially, it is she wants to get her son into a specialized school for children on the spectrum, and she can't afford that. So the child is stuck in a school that's not really specialized for him. And you can see how he's not coping at the beginning of the story. So her entire goal is to provide for her son and to make sure that he goes to a school where his needs are catered for.
And that's part of the layered complexity of these characters. It isn't just about avarice, but this is a person with real needs and a family to provide for, and therefore the hustle isn't just about, hey, let me be amazing, but there are actual real deep-seated issues to be addressed.
Absolutely. The story is about survival, survival as a single mother, survival in the aspects of being an influencer and seeking a sense of validation and not feeling whole in the things you do to make yourself feel whole.
Tell me about the cast. We know the talents of people like Tapelo Mokoena well enough, Hamilton Dlamini, but what an inspired choice to have Zosbini Tunzi as well.
Yes, Zoe was amazing. I think we went through extensive casting for the role of Naomi, and she was the best. And she came in with her A game every single day on set. Every single person did. And it was really inspiring to see everyone on the floor every day putting in their best. And yes, kudos to the cast.
A story like this, in my head, often is about the characters as you've written them, but also the place, the city, Johannesburg. How much does it feature in the backdrop as kind of a character of its own?
Joburg is such an interesting place, and I don't think we've actually fully explored the range of what it is. I mean, we've got, as I mentioned before, Sandton, which is glossy and, shiny and brilliant. And then you've got the other aspects, which is aspects in town, which is a complete opposite of Sandton. And that polarity for me, visually and in the story, is something so interesting to engage in. And I think it's a reality that we live every day. We just haven't seen it juxtaposed in that way before.
It's been out since the 31st of October. The reception so far?
It's overwhelming. People are loving it, and you can only be grateful for something like that because you never expect that something is going to resonate this much with people, and it is.
Is there room for more seasons, at least season 2?
I'm crossing fingers that is the case, yes.
And as you write a season for something like this, how much do you leave room for more in case, of course, the audience responds to it positively?
Well, in my head, when I pitched the story, it was always, more than one season. So I know exactly where the story is going to end in my mind. Obviously, I'm not going to share it with everyone, but...
I mean, you could.
No, I'm not going to do that. You guys are going to have to tune in.
Well, at the very least, we can tune in for the first season. BK and Pinky, a new Netflix crime comedy, is out on Netflix. And of course, Kudi Maradzika is the screenwriter, who's also a director, a producer, and performer in her own right.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming to talk to us.
Everyone.
702 Breakfast.
All right.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.